How to take better photos. One of the best ways to level up your work is by studying great photos. And that's exactly what we're going to do today in a new series where I analyze the 7 standout images I've come across this week. My name is Kevtex and I'm a photographer. I'll be creating a lot of video like this to help us level up our photography skills, so make sure to support this channel. Please like, subscribe and activate the notification. I'll share why this photo caught my eye, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, whether you agree, have a different perspective, or want to add something to my take. This is all about learning together, so feel free to jump in with your opinions, no hard feelings here. So let's dive in. In the portrait category, we have this stunning shot of Taylor Lesher taken by Dean Martindale. What struck me about this photo is the feeling of looking at an icon. It's a close-up, focusing almost entirely on the subject's face, creating a strong visual connection with the viewer. The emphasis is on the eye and facial feature, which immediately grabs attention. The tight framing adds to the photo's intimacy. The light is natural and soft, casting gentle shadows that add depth without being too harsh. This highlights the skin's texture and the softness of the feature. The colors are soft and slightly desaturated, giving the image a classic timeless feel. The contrast between the subject's pale skin and the black sweater is especially striking. The subject has a neutral but intense expression and a direct gaze at the camera. This can evoke a sense of depth or melancholy. The short haircut with bangs add to the portrait's distinctive and somewhat retro vibe, giving an impression of simple elegance. The shallow depth of field emphasizes the facial feature while blurring the background. Congratulations to both of you for these timeless portraits. Now, in the street photography category, incredible image by Paul Borg Oliver. This photo is a visual, striking composition that skillfully plays with light, shadows, and perspective to create an image that is both dramatic and symbolic. In this framing, the staircase dominates most of the image, guiding the viewer's gaze from the bottom to the top, where the light source is located. This framing emphasizes the height and length of the staircase, reinforcing the idea of a journey or ascent. The perspective of the staircase and surrounding buildings create a strong directional line that immediately draws the eye forward, the figures, and the light at the top. This gives a sense of depth and space. The lighting is one of the most striking elements of this photo. The step of the staircase creates a repetitive pattern of light and dark bands, enhancing the visual rhythm and giving the image an almost graphic texture. The light source comes from a bright area at the top of the staircase, possibly suggesting a sunrise or sunset. This diffuse light partially envelopes the person's silhouette, creating a halo, an almost mystical or spiritual aspect to the scene. The absence of color shifts the focus to contrast and geometric shapes, heightening the dramatic effect of the scene. The black and white gives the image a timeless, universal atmosphere, making it both more abstract and emotionally powerful. The pronounced contrast between shadows and light area creates visual and dramatic tension. This can also evoke notions of the struggle between darkness and light, or moments of transition in life. The image has a cinematic quality, reminiscent of film noir or iconic scene of big city at night. It evokes a sense of mystery, suspense, or deep reflection. The act of climbing the steps, combined with the movement towards the light, can be interpreted as quest or progression, whether spiritual, emotional, or physical. This creates an emotional connection with the viewer, who may project their own experience or aspiration onto the scene. The solitary figure climbing the steps toward the light adds a strong narrative dimension, inviting reflection on themes like journey, solitude, and aspiration. Now, in the artistic category, this is a picture of Jan Woods. What impressed me about this photo is how it used reflection to provoke a strong reaction. The image is focused mainly on the mouth, distorted by reflection in water, creating intense visual dissonance. The framing is tight, centered on his distortion, which immediately grabs the viewer's attention. The contrast between the real face and its digital reflection is emphasized by the use of color. The upper part of the face is in the gray tones, while the reflection in the water is tint dark blue. This highlights the separation between reality and altered image. The light in this image appears to come from a flash source, evident in the intense and uniform lighting on the face. The image evokes a deep unease, perhaps symbolizing a distortion of identity or inner turmoil. The mouth, distorted by the reflection, could represent a silent scream or unexpressed inner suffering, making the scene both fascinating and unsettling. The use of distortion and reflection gives the photo an almost surreal quality, inviting the viewer to reflect on the duality of self-image and the hidden emotion beneath calm surface. And now in the fashion category, this is Kate Moss photographed by Mario Testino. What immediately grabs my attention in this photo is striking visual impact, achieving through both the color of the makeup and a tight composition center of the subject's face. It's a close-up, with the photo focusing almost entirely on the face, creating a strong visual connection with the viewer. The emphasis is on the eyes and facial features, which are symmetrically aligned, reinforcing a sense of control and structure. The eyes immediately draw attention. The vivid and contrasting color of the makeup are key elements of this image. There's a clear understanding of color theory, with a double complementary harmony at play. The turquoise, green, and white around the eyes create a bold contrast with the natural skin tone and the bright red lips. This gives the image an almost surreal quality and a strong visual impact. The light in this image clearly comes from a flash, creating a sharp contrast with the shadow under the chin. A classic technique in fashion photography to create sharp, vibrant highlights and even skin tones. This direct lighting emphasizes the model's feature, making the colors of the makeup pop against the smooth background. The turquoise background complements the eye makeup, creating visual harmony while emphasizing the uniqueness of the face. The model's face carries a neutral, almost serious expression, which contrasts with the flamboyant makeup. This tension between the bold visual presentation and the model's calm demeanor adds depth, inviting reflection on identity and perception. The model's direct gaze could also suggest a confrontation with the viewer, challenging visual expectations. In the landscape category, picture of Isabelle and Bartos. I love this photo for the way it captures a romantic and timeless scene of the rooftop in Paris at sunset. The photo features a wide framing encompassing not only the two people lying on the tin roof, but also a large portion of the sky and Parisian rooftops. This places the subject within a broader context, highlighting their connection to this iconic environment. The subjects are positioned off-center towards the bottom of the image, leaving much of the frame to the horizon and sky. The choice emphasizes tranquility and contemplation, allowing the viewers to breathe within the image. The light is soft and golden, typical of sunset, bathing the scene in a warm, romantic and nostalgic glow. The colors are dominated by warm tones, orange, pinks, and gold, that blend with the earthy hues of the tile and zinc roof, enhancing the idea of a magical moment in Paris. The shadows are long but gentle, adding depth without creating harsh contrast. This contributes to the calm and serene atmosphere of the image. The two people lying side by side on the roof suggest shared intimacy, heightened by the choice of an isolated and private space like the rooftop. The Parisian rooftop themselves bring a cultural and poetic dimension often associated with freedom, creativity, and bohemian lifestyle. The silhouette of the Eiffel Tower, visible on the horizon, though subtle, anchor the photo in an iconic location and reinforce the romantic and dreamy character of the scene. This image evokes a poetic and serene ambience, inviting the viewer to imagine the thoughts and emotion of the two people by the softness of that moment. The contrast between the intimacy of the character and the vastness of the city suggests a reflection of the individual in a big city or the importance of shared moments in a vast, impersonal environment. This photo is a successful representation of an intimate and peaceful moment at the heart of an iconic urban landscape. The wide framing, the golden light of sunset, the subtle presence of the Eiffel Tower create a scene that is both romantic and contemplative, capturing the essence of a moment suspending in time in Paris. And now in the love category, Nastya Linsenko with Yesli Dimate, Tonyuskan. So what strikes me about this photo is the feeling of capturing a moment suspending in time, a fleeting but intense encounter. It's an intimate scene in a public setting where two people embrace with palpable intensity. The frame is slightly tilted, adding a visual dynamic that makes it feel like as thought time is stopping around them while everything else continues to move. The blurred background with a train speeding by contrasts with the stillness of the couple. This creates tension between movement and tranquility, highlighting the fleeting nature of the movement. The moving train might symbolize the passage of time, while the couple seems frozen in their own bubble. The colors are slightly desaturated, giving the scene a nostalgic effect, almost like a distant memory. The urban tones of greens and brown enhance this melancholic atmosphere, subtly contrasting with the warmth of the embrace. Diffuse lighting highlight the subject's face, emphasizing the emotional connection between them. Their intense gaze and the closeness of the body tell a story of love or desire, making the scene both passionate and tender. The motion blur in the background, combined with the sharpness of the couple, evoke a dreamlike feeling, as if this moment's pressure and ephemeral, destined to disappear as quickly as it appeared. It's this tension between the eternity of their embrace and the speed of the world around them that give the image its emotional power. This photo could be seen as a metaphor for modern life. Moment of deep connection within the chaos and speed of urban life. The scene is both romantic and dramatic, captivating the viewers with its simplicity and depth. And now in the random category. This is a picture of Jocelyn. What stands out to me in this photo is how it captures a simple yet deeply evocative moment, centered on a steaming cup of coffee placed on a wooden table, illuminating by a beam of light that cuts across the room. The steaming cup of coffee, positioned at the center of the image, serves as a universal symbol of comfort and pose, emotionally connecting the viewer to this moment of morning calm or personal reflection. The beam of light shining on it perhaps symbolizes a moment of clarity or inspiration, reinforcing the idea of a serene break in an ordinary day. The tight framing, focusing almost entirely on the cup and table, create a strong visual connection with the observer. The use of natural light as a key element in the composition guides the eye to the cup, making it the focal point of the image. The play of shadows and light on the table adds depth to the composition, while the blurred background with its bokeh effect keeps the attention centered on the coffee, establishing a calm and intimate atmosphere. The natural light coming from a window create a marked contrast between the lit and shaded area, highlighting the steam rising from the cup and making the scene visually captivating. The sharp, well-defined shadows cast by the cup and the edge of the table add a graphic dimension, playing a crucial role in the balance of the scene. The dominant tones are warm, with shades of browns and orange that evoke the warmth of the wood and the morning. This contrast between light and darkness enhances the serene atmosphere, while also emphasizing the texture of the wood and the cup. The blurred background suggests domestic intimate setting, adding a layer of everyday life to the scene. This secondary detail contributes that the image captures quiet moments, perhaps in the morning. The image evokes simplicity and tranquility, inviting the viewers to savor this moment of calm and contemplation. The intimacy and comfort radiating from the scene are heightened by the contrast between soft light and deep shadows, making the warmth and serenity of the moment tangible. This photo is a perfect example of how an everyday scene can be transformed into an evocative and emotional image. The coffee cup, illuminated, becomes a symbol of comfort and tranquility, while the subtle interplay of light and shadow add depth and mystery to the image. It's a photo that captures the essence of life's small moments, making them visually captivating and emotionally resonant. Alright, drop your thoughts in the comments about the image you just seen. And if you want your shot to be featured, just send them to yourbestpicture@kefte.com. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification to support this content. In the meantime, keep taking as many photos as you can.